I saw Captain Ibrahim Traoré bury the woman he loved with his bare hands. But what shook me most was that he kept whispering. It was my fault. She warned me. I didn't listen. My name is Musa. I was just a cook at the camp where Captain Traoré stayed. I never wanted trouble. I kept my head down. But that year, that woman, it changed everything. Her name was Halima. She came from a nearby village. She was soft-spoken, always smiling and very kind. She brought herbs and food to the camp. Everyone loved her, but it was the captain who loved her the most. He wasn't like other soldiers. He had power. People feared him. He rarely smiled, until Halima started coming around. Then everything changed. He stopped beating his men. He gave food to poor families. He even helped rebuild a broken bridge. We all said the same thing. Halima had softened his heart. They became close fast. Too fast. One day, I heard them talking alone under the tree behind the camp. She said, "I love you, Ibrahim, but the spirits are not happy. You must ask for forgiveness." He laughed and kissed her forehead. "I've changed, Halima. That's enough." But Halima didn't laugh. She just stared at him. "Some things don't forget," she said. "Some things don't forgive." I didn't understand what she meant until the next night. Everything went quiet around midnight. No wind, no frogs, no sound at all. That's when the fire in the camp went out by itself. The captain's tent shook like something was inside it. He screamed. We rushed to him. Halima was lying on the ground, her eyes wide open, but not blinking, not breathing, dead. No wounds, no blood, nothing, just gone. The captain dropped to his knees and held her. He begged her to wake up. He cried like a baby, but she was gone. That night, I heard him whisper again and again. She told me. The next morning, he buried her himself. After that, the captain was never the same. Quiet, cold, like his soul left with her. Sometimes, I see him walking to her grave at night, talking to it, crying, saying sorry. I still cook for him, but I don't ask questions, because now I believe what Halima said. Some things don't forget. A few days after the burial, strange things started happening at the camp. It started small, meat going bad within minutes, even when it was fresh. Then, our water turned thick and dark. We tried to boil it, but it smelled like smoke even though no fire touched it. At night, the wind would blow only around the captain's tent, nowhere else. One soldier said he saw a woman in white standing at the edge of the trees. She wasn't moving, just standing and staring toward the captain's tent. He swore it was Halima. We thought he was losing his mind, until more of us saw her too. The scariest part? Her feet didn't touch the ground. We wanted to leave the camp, but the captain wouldn't let us. He said, "This is my punishment. No one else should suffer." But we were already suffering. One night, I heard someone calling my name. It sounded like Halima. Soft, gentle. The same voice she used when she brought me tea. I knew she was dead, but I still stood up and followed the voice. It led me toward the bush, away from the firelight. When I got close to the trees, I stopped. I saw her. She was standing there, just like the soldier described, in white, no shoes, hair wet, like she had come from the river. She looked at me and said, "Tell him to dig deeper." That's all. Then she was gone. I ran back to camp, sweating. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I told the captain what she said. His face went pale. He didn't speak. He just walked to her grave with a shovel and started digging. For hours, all of us stood there, watching in silence. Then he stopped. He had found something. It wasn't a coffin. It was a bag full of bones. Old bones, not Halima's. He fell to his knees and whispered. It was never about me. It was about what I buried before I met her. None of us knew what he meant. But after that day, the white figure stopped appearing, at least for a while. Captain Traoré didn't talk for 3 days after digging up that bag of bones. He moved the bones to a wooden box and locked it inside his tent. No one dared ask questions. But I noticed something. Since that day, he never looked anyone in the eyes again, not even me. On the fourth night, he called me in. Just me. He looked like he hadn't slept. Dark circles under his eyes, beard messy, hands shaking. He said, "Musa, do you believe in revenge?" I didn't answer. I just stared at the box behind him. He sighed, rubbed his face, and said, "When I was younger, I did things. Bad things. I followed orders. Burned villages. Took what wasn't mine. One day, we raided a shrine deep in the forest. There were skulls, statues, offerings. My commander said we must destroy it all." He paused. His voice was shaking now. "I found a small skeleton. It looked like a child. The villagers said it was a sacred soul, protected by a woman priest. They begged me to leave it." He took a deep breath. "I buried it instead, in secret. I didn't know why. Maybe guilt, maybe fear. But I buried it near a hill and told no one." His eyes were full of tears. "That hill is where Halima used to walk every day. She must have known. She must have felt it." I felt cold all over. My hands were sweating. Captain Traoré stood up and walked the box. The child! It was never laid to rest properly. The woman who protected it, she made a vow that anyone who disturbed the grave would pay, even if it took years. He turned to me. "Halima was her descendant, Musa. She didn't come to love me. She came to test me. And I failed." Suddenly, the oil lamp in the tent flickered. Then it died. Total darkness. And in that silence, we heard it. A child crying. Not outside. Inside the box. Captain Traoré froze. He whispered, "It's starting again." We just stood there in the dark. Me and Captain Traoré. Not saying a word. Just listening to the sound of a baby. Soft crying, like it was hurt. But the worst part? It sounded like it was breathing. Like something alive was trapped inside that wooden box. The captain moved slowly toward it. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't move. I just kept staring. My heart was pounding. He kneeled beside the box and whispered something in a language I didn't understand. Then the crying stopped. Everything went silent again. He turned to me and said, "Musa, tomorrow morning we go to the shrine. We're going to return the bones." I asked him, "What shrine?" He looked at me. His voice was low. "The one we burned." The next day, just before dawn, we packed the bones inside a wrapped white cloth. The captain carried it like a baby on his back. Me and 2 other soldiers followed him. We didn't take the road. We followed the river, deep into the forest. The air grew heavy. Even the birds were quiet. When we reached the shrine, it was just as he said, burned black, broken statues, ash all over the ground. But something still lived there. I felt it. Captain Traoré walked the center. He dropped to his knees. He placed the bones gently on the ground. Then, for the first time ever, he did something I thought I'd never see. He begged. He cried and said, "I was young. I didn't understand. Forgive me. Please let her rest in peace." Then a strong wind blew through the trees. So strong it pushed all of us back. We heard a woman's voice, soft but clear. "Leave now and never return." The bones sank into the earth. Slowly. On their own. The ground closed like nothing had ever been dug. And just like that, it was over. We walked back to camp without saying a word. That night, the captain sat under the stars alone. I brought him tea. He smiled a little, the first smile in weeks. He said, "Halima was never here to stay. She was sent to test my soul. And now, maybe, I've passed." 2 weeks passed after we returned from the shrine. Things started to feel normal again. No more crying sounds. No more strange wind at night. Even the water was clean again. We all began to breathe easier. But Captain Traoré, he changed. He didn't bark orders anymore. He spent most of his time in silence, helping the younger soldiers with their duties. He started praying 5 times a day, something I had never seen him do before. One evening, he called me to sit with him under the neem tree beside the camp. The sun was going down, and the air was cool. He said, "Musa, I don't think I'm meant to lead anymore." I was shocked, but, "Sir, the men respect you. You saved the village from rebels." You've changed." He smiled, but it was a sad smile. "I've done too much. This peace I feel now, it's not for the battlefield. It's for the soul. I met Halima for a reason. She came to remind me of who I used to be, before the killing, before the blood." He looked up at the sky. She showed me mercy. Now it's my turn to live with mercy. The next morning, he handed over his uniform. Just like that, he left. No big goodbye. No speech. He walked out of camp with only a small bag and a walking stick. He said he was going to live near the mountains, far from the city, to farm, to pray, to be at peace. But here's the part that still makes my skin crawl. About a month later, I had a dream. In the dream, I was standing at the same shrine we visited. The trees were dead. The ground was cracked. But in the middle stood Halima, dressed in white, smiling. She said only one thing. He chose the right path. But others will come, others who disturb the ground. Then she vanished. I woke up sweating. Now, every time I pass a lonely tree or hear the wind whistle too long at night, I wonder, what if those bones weren't the only ones buried wrong? And what if not everyone will get a second chance like Captain Traoré? A few months after Captain Traoré left, our camp moved to another location. Peace had returned to the village, and we thought the dark days were behind us. But one day, a young soldier named Baiko, new to the unit, went into forest alone to cut firewood. He didn't come back. We searched all night. When we found him in the morning, he was sitting under a tree, shaking, staring into nothing. His clothes were torn, his hands covered in dust. He kept repeating one thing. "I stepped on a grave. I didn't know. We tried to calm him, but his mind was gone. Just like that, we all remembered Halima's warning in my dream. Others will come, others who disturb the ground. Captain Traoré had made peace, but not everyone had. That night, I sat alone and wrote everything down. The bones, the crying box, the shrine, Halima, the voice, the wind, everything. I kept it hidden, but I swore to never forget it. Years later, I visited Traoré near the mountains. He had built a small house with mud bricks and a tin roof. He was growing maize and cassava. He smiled when he saw me. We talked until nightfall. Before I left, I asked him one last question. "Do you still think about her?" He looked up at the stars and said, "Every night, not with fear, but with thanks, because she didn't come to punish me. She came to give me a second chance." He placed a hand on my shoulder and said something I'll never forget. "The dead are not angry, unless you forget they were once alive too. Never disturb what you do not understand. Respect the past, respect the dead, and always walk with humility, because some mistakes don't knock twice. Sometimes the scariest things aren't ghosts or curses, but the guilt that refuses to die.